Hello, hello. This is the 181st Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2224, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So Simon, are you ready for an episode about dragon cloning?
I am. All prepared.
Because that's
read
what
up
we'll
on
be...
stuff and everything.
Yes, because that's what we'll be talking about today. But before we get to that, first, the news. Did you read about the machine fly that we used the other day?
Yeah, well, I mean, the article wasn't specifically about that one. Though we learned later from Gwen that it was also affected. But right, yeah, I read the story. All the machine flies all over the world apparently have left wherever they were stationed, wherever they were working, and have all started flying off away.
Yeah. It's some were just stationed, some were transporting people, how they were transporting us
Right,
about 2 weeks ago.
Skyscraper building site.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, they didn't leave the atmosphere as I understood, but they're just flying around the Earth together.
Seems to be, right, they seem to be coalescing, like joining up with each other.
Yep.
But so far it's not clear where they're flying to, if they even are flying to a specific place. At the moment it seems simply that they're all joining up and flying together around the world.
And because they're not sentient, it's a little unclear what triggered this, right?
Right. Exactly. When recalled, like for example, like the one we used the other day, recalled to the place where, it's meant to be shuttling people around a building site, simply sent the response message, I'm off.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. That's just a response that we got, and that's it. I mean, they managed to get the people off that were still on it, so they were not, I don't know, rebellious or anything.
No, not rebellious, and exactly, they're not flying very quickly, so some of them simply dropped off their passengers on their way out. Other ones needed to be, pursued by, other folk in, a hovercar, for example, to get the people.
Yeah.
But it was easy enough to do. Other folk just got teleported off, of course, that's even easier.
Yeah. It's one of the many fun mysteries of the 23rd century. Yeah. Listeners might think we've all have everything figured out. It's not.
No, I mean, we figure out a bunch of stuff. Probably the stuff that was around 200 years ago, probably all that stuff's been figured out. But then, of course, new things come up.
We'll wait for another podcast, 200 years in our future, to explain us why did this just happen.
Right, they'll have a good explanation.
I'm sure. Okay, but then I would say let's move on to the actual topic of today.
Which was, how to clone a dragon.
How to clone a dragon, yeah. We thought that could be a fun subject for somebody in the 21st century. If you have some time on your hands, lazy Saturday afternoon, we understood they work from Monday to Friday. So, so lazy Saturday afternoon, you tell your friends.
Yeah, fun weekend project.
Can't come to Swave Bowl today, I'm going to clone a dragon. But then before we get to the actual process, because we will get to this actual process,
Sure.
I thought maybe a quick recap of dragons and humans.
Sure, that sounds useful.
When the first big bones were found by the first humans.
Meaning hundreds or thousands of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever they were found, I don't know. Then they said, wow, these are some big, massive lizards. That must have been dragons. And then in later times, a bunch of smart people said, no, they were dinosaurs. Dragons didn't actually exist. And even later, even smarter people said, how about some of them were dinosaurs and some of them were dragons?
Exactly. Just because they're big bones doesn't mean they all need to come from the same type of animal.
Exactly. So I think the listeners are still in an age where it's dinosaur. I
think dinosaurs only, yeah.
Yeah, dinosaurs only, yeah. So, it's a quick spoiler, dinosaurs and dragons.
Both of them. And then sure, but there are differences.
Yep.
It's not just these are dinosaurs, but we've decided to call them dragons. No, there are actual differences. But the reason it may have been trickier to tell for our listeners 200 years ago is that fossilized bones especially externally look very similar between dragons and dinosaurs. But much like how, spiders and insects are different from each other, salamanders and lizards are different, and so on.
Yeah.
Jellyfish, they're very different from jelly.
Yeah.
So similarly, dragons are different from dinosaurs, even though there are some superficial similarities.
Yeah, their own branch. Like jelly and jellyfish look similar, but are different branches of stuff. The same with dinosaurs and dragons.
And so for example, the main difference is, like I say, you can't see this externally, but dragon bones are hollow.
Yeah.
Much like a bird's. That's pretty different. And also, although dragons, some of them had wings, but some of those were just for decoration.
Yeah.
Not actually used for flight.
They looked nice while walking around.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe that's also why they had hollow bones, because for the ones that were flying, it was easier to lift off with hollow bones. And they were not so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so much into big differences between... I know the hollow bones one, that's the one that's used a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've maybe saved the best one or the biggest difference for last. Dinosaurs can speak English, but dragons can't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and that's because, sure, English wasn't around back then, so how could they speak it?
Yes, that's very, very, very good reason. Yeah, so that's a lot of debunking had to happen at the beginning when people started cloning dragons. Turns out they didn't speak English.
I mean, they learned it, of course.
Yes.
Once they were cloned, it's easy enough to pick up.
But not initially.
Yeah,
not from the get-go. This was not baked in. You could already tell them they came from an age without English. Unlike dinosaurs. So how did we find all of this out?
Some dragons were cloned.
Yes. And you can do a lot of theorizing and hypothesizing, but you can also just clone a bunch of dragons and then find out.
And then ask.
And then, because in the beginning there was still some discussion. These are all dinosaurs, or these are all dragons. You clone a bunch, you'll find out, okay, there are actually both types. Yeah, so now to the big fun part. So where this podcast doesn't become...
Not just us talking. Well, I mean, okay, the whole thing is us talking, but specifically we're going to tell our listeners how they too can clone a dragon.
And then we're going to first list all the stuff that you need. And then...
like the things you need to collect together.
Exactly. And then we're going to sing a song and do a dance while you get all of that. Or you can basically pause the recording.
We don't even need to do that. We can just keep speaking. Exactly. Our listeners can pause.
Okay.
Some of this stuff may take some time to get to, so if we put in like a 30-second audio, like meaning music clip, that probably won't be enough time. So
I've
maybe
been practicing
even better.
dancing.
I mean, you can dance. Feel free. I'm just saying our listeners, maybe they do the thing where they listen to the whole episode all the way through to the end first.
Yes.
And then go look for the stuff.
And then skip back to the bit that they want to hear again. Yeah, okay, this is smart. Okay, then we'll skip the singing and dancing. We'll do that some other time. So you've done it a couple of times, actually.
Yeah, a few times, yeah.
You want to reveal all the things that the listener
the things you need to collect together. So you need some dragon bones, first of all.
And in case you don't have any, Patagonia. I hear has a whole lot of them.
Yep.
Michigan as well.
In the US.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Just 2 quick tips in case you don't have any laying around.
Yep. And maybe you can look on the internet. Maybe there's a place that will sell you them, but probably best to go find them yourselves. Because as I understand it, 200 years ago, people wouldn't have called them dragon bones.
Yeah.
So it would be tricky to search for them.
Yeah, I was just going to say ask your personal assistant, but you probably don't have any. Check with AI, but you probably don't have any either. So just go to Patagonia and ask around there.
Yep, get some dragon bones. Okay, that's the first thing. Then you also need some more equipment, I guess. So you need a Bunsen burner, you need a beaker, and you need 2, this is important, 2 purple glass flasks.
Yeah. I'm saying I've seen them.
You've seen me have them and
use them.
Exactly. So you need those. And then this is the bit where maybe this will sound unusual to our listeners, but it's important. So you need either novels, so books, or TV shows or films. Basically, you need media that contain the type of dragon personality that you would like your cloned dragon to have.
But as far as I understood it, the media doesn't have to be about dragons, right? It has to be about a personality.
No, it really has to be about dragons.
Oh, really?
So featuring dragons, and then specifically, so for example, say you want a really aggressive dragon that just burns everything down. Okay, find yourself a book where it has that type of dragon. You want the kind of dragon that's a real cute, like familiar pet that hangs around on your shoulder like a parrot or something. Get that kind of story, you know?
See, this explains why I have not really been very successful cloning dragons. Because I didn't realize it had to be about a dragon personality.
Yeah, that's important. So you've tried it, but not had a success.
Yeah, I mean, a success is
Maybe
depending.
should have talked about this sooner, because like you mentioned.
I'm thinking now. I should have asked you. I know you. No, the biggest, the closest I got to a dragon was a little marshmallow man.
That's cute, but very different.
He was a Ghostbusters.
I was going to say you must have fed in Ghostbusters as the...
Yeah. I wanted the Fangman personality.
Ah, nice. Okay, I see what you mean, but I guess you didn't get that. Or?
No.
That would have been cool. A little marshmallow man with the personality of Peter Venkman.
No, it was a pretty angry marshmallow man. Started throwing my stuff around.
That's a different type. Okay, but then you need, so media that contains the dragon personality that you would like. And then a corollary to that, you need Lego instructions for the type of dragon, like how you want it to look like. Yep. So meaning 4 legs, 6 legs, 2 legs, wingspan,
wings,
horns,
size of scales.
Yeah, eyes at the front, eyes at the side, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, walking on 2 legs, stuff like this. Yeah.
And then the final thing you need is a whole lot. Depends, of course, on how many dragons or how big a dragon you're making, but you need a whole lot of juice.
Yeah.
Yep, and then that's everything you need.
Assuming that this is something you easily can get in the 21st century.
I think I think everything we've mentioned was available.
Lego's been around forever.
Exactly.
Juice has been around forever. Bunsen burners. Yeah. Okay, so if this is your second pass through, this is where you start...
making use of all that
exactly.
stuff that you've collected.
And if it's your first listen through, then you need to probably pay a little bit more attention now.
Yeah.
Because what do they need to do with all of this stuff?
So it's pretty simple. You get all these things and you put them into your Clone Maker 3000. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You pour the juice into the filament tanks, put all the other things into the main compartment, and then you tap the big green go button.
There's a tip. So if you put in all the juice, leave some room for the rest of the stuff.
Because the juice goes into the filament tanks. That's like a separate part of the Clone Maker 3000. Were you just putting everything in the main compartment?
Yeah, the big opening.
Messy. Yeah, so the big opening, the main compartment is called. Yeah. That's where you put all the other things, but the juice goes into the filament tanks.
I thought the juice needed to go into the big opening too.
Yeah, and actually there's one thing I just forgot to mention right now, because I always have it set this way, like it's the default setting, but I think this wouldn't be the default setting. So I have the default setting, the scale, to 1%. So say a dragon would be a meter, or that's a bit small, 10 meters long in real life, it'll be 10 centimeters long in my hand, which is considerably more manageable for a dragon. So I always have mine set to a default scale of 1%.
I didn't want to change the factory settings. So
okay, so if you'd succeeded, you would have had a very large dragon, I guess.
I mean, the Marshmallow Man was roughly my size.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not sure what the
what the natural size of a
Marshmallow Man is exactly. So if this is my size,
that was unintended.
Yeah, exactly. And this was the only time something really came out.
Yeah.
If I listen to you carefully now, I'm pretty amazed that something came out to begin with.
Yeah, that is actually.
I mean,
I'd say good luck.
Yeah, I broke 2 also. I broke
2 machines.
Yeah.
Okay, that's bad luck. Okay, so you tap go, and then you wait 20 hours, give or take, and then you have a little dragon. In my case, a little dragon.
Yeah, sure.
And then you can teach it English, have some nice conversations with it. You mentioned marshmallows. Maybe that's where it came in, because they really, you can roast marshmallows together while you're talking. That's a lot of fun.
Nice. We should bring my Marshmallow Man and your dragons together.
So long as the Marshmallow Man isn't sentient, that sounds good.
Fair enough, yeah. I'm not sure if it's sentient. Also, I'm also not sure where it is, because it started throwing... No, I kind of told it to hit the road.
Okay. So it's not around anymore.
No.
Okay.
No, not my place anyway.
No, sure.
No, it can throw somebody else tough around the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you do with a dragon?
I mean, what you like. I mean, mine, the ones I've cloned, they tend to inhabit my Lego city over there on the coffee tables.
Are they day dragons? I don't see them so much.
They're more nocturnal. They come out at night.
Okay.
But they just mostly they lounge around.
Yeah.
Like during the day, they lounge around. They sleep in the sunshine coming through the window. At night, they stalk the Lego streets. Looking all cocky and whatnot.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's kind of what dragons are known for, right? Like resting on a bunch of stuff.
That's a good point. So because this is Lego, they hoard the Lego golden coins.
Ooh.
I mean, I've helped them out. I've built them some nice. So it's a coffee table with like a second shelf underneath. A second layer, and the shelf underneath the coffee table. That's where I have the big pile of Lego golden coins. And they like to.
But you can only see from the side, right?
Yeah, from the side.
I'm gonna check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, they're effectively their pets. Yeah, they're not doing so much.
Okay.
But they're fun.
Cool.
Nice to hang out with. Nice to have conversations with sometimes.
Well, I think it's a lot of useful instructions for our listeners.
Yeah, exactly. They follow our instructions.
Yeah.
They shall be able to clone dragons themselves.
And you already know what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're curious to hear how your cloning works out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might just be at the verge of a 21st century scientific breakthrough, because you will be able to tell your fellow people that dragons did actually exist and exist again.
And they'll be able to say that. I mean, they can also simply tell their friends about our podcast, and their friends can listen to it that way. It's also a good thing to do. It did just occur to me, all the things they need are available then, and it just occurred to me they may not have a Clone Maker 3000 to actually put the stuff into in order to clone the dragon.
You reckon it's not that old?
I mean, the Clone Maker 3000, that came out around 20 years ago. But I mean, so I presume there were previous models, but I just don't know how far back that company goes. I don't know if they had them 200 years ago.
Yeah, okay, but it could be if maybe only the Clone Maker 1000 is around, or it might just have been called the Clone Maker, sure. I don't know. And maybe the instructions are slightly different.
Possibly. Maybe it's not tab go, maybe it's, slide the start toggle or something like that.
And maybe you need to put the juice in the big opening and not in the filament tank.
Right. And maybe you need additional materials. We listed the ones we need, but maybe they need additional stuff.
Like, you definitely don't need straw. I tried that.
No, not straw, but maybe, I mentioned you need Lego instructions, but maybe you also need Lego bricks in those previous models.
Okay. I'm warming up to the idea that in the earlier models, the juice needed to go in the big opening.
Right? Maybe that's why you had that idea.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just liking that because maybe I'm not so weird.
Sure.
Okay, cool. How to clone a dragon.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, and you, our listeners, if you have success, if you don't have success, please let us know by writing to us at michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the episode number 181 into the subject line, and that way we'll get the double whammy of knowing that this episode successfully went back in time, and also whatever your success or not success was in terms of cloning a dragon of your own.
Yes, we would love to hear from you. All right, then thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.